Welcome to the St. Mary's Gaels Baseball Weekend Review and Preview from the weekending day, Friday, April 21st through Tuesday, April 25th, 2023. A recap with Gaels head coach Greg Moore. The Gaels over the weekend end up losing 2 of 3. They end up losing the Friday game 3-2 in 10 innings. Connor Lynch, 6 2/3 innings, giving up 7 hits, 2 earned runs, walked. We had 4 strikeouts, did not figure in the decision. And then in game 2, it was a back and forth game. It was tied 7-7 before the Gaels end up, or the Lions end up scoring 5 times in the 9th inning to put that game away, 12-7. But the Gaels were able to salvage the final game of the series, 15-4. Billy Ralston, 3 for 5, a pair of runs scored, 3 RBIs. He had a multi-home run game, 2 home runs. Christian Almanza hit a home run, 2 for 4, a pair of RBIs. Cody Kashimoto hit his first ever collegiate home run, and also Connor Pilate ended up picking up his first ever collegiate Division I win. And also, then in the midweek, they go down to Bakersfield to beat Cal State Bakersfield 14-2. As the red-hot Bill Ralston, 2 more home runs. He went 3 for 4, 2 home runs, a pair of runs scored, 3 more RBIs. And then it was in Mateo Bellamino hit his first ever collegiate home run. And the Gaels in that game had 9 extra base hits, 4 home runs, and 5 doubles. So, Greg, this is it felt like the other night, it felt like 1927 New York Yankees, known as Murder's Row, with the Gaels in Moraga right now.
Yeah, I didn't realize that we were doing what we were doing until after the game, but it was good to see all the good swings. We got some balls up and out over the plate. The guys capitalized. So I didn't realize it was 9 total bases until I looked at the score. But it's a product of them putting in all that work and making sure that they're on time to the fastballs that are left over the middle of the plate.
That's kind of the philosophy of hitting coach, first-year hitting coach Dave Meggs, being on time, and that's what William Ralston has implemented, being on time with the fastball, and that's a good thing if you're going out there into the dating world. If you want to look for if a female, the tip of the day, if a female makes the first move by a great smile at you, that is a fastball, dead heat fastball. You're going to turn on that 3-1 fastball on time immediately. You cannot miss out.
You got that right, B. The only thing I would add to that is lay off the slider. Lay off the slider.
Those are, the lay off the sliders is, that's right. So, but on the serious note, I mean, a lot of contributions. Now we got to get to the serious business. This week is a rivalry weekend. It's kind of for yours truly, the professor, and for yours truly, a homecoming, as the Gaels will travel across the bay to the city of the Bay to take on our old original stomping grounds where it started 24 years ago, back in 1999. It's against the San Francisco Dons on the hilltop, and this is going to be kind of, for both of us, sort of an emotional time. A lot has changed over the past year. We all know it all started with Coach Jared Child building the facility, and there have been a lot of changes with that team since he left. A lot has happened, and this is a big series. I mean, you right now sit at 10-8. You're 2.5 games up, plus 2.5, 3 up in the loss column, ahead of you guys in Gonzaga, ahead of both BYU and in Santa Clara. And the Dons, mathematically, the Gaels are having a commanding about a 5 full game lead, 5 up on the Dons, where you're looking at the realist and the prospect. The goal, of course, to win the series, but you can not only with a series sweep, not only you're pretty much in their season, knock them out of the chasing the WCC, but the important thing is you can get over 500 by winning this weekend, possibly.
Yeah, it's gonna be a time to go play. I'd like to flip the script on you, B. What are your thoughts going back to the Hilltop?
Well, Greg, it's for both of us. A lot of the storylines kind of emotional, kind of like that's where we started. We all know what happened last year. What Coach Giarratano had did with the program. Unfortunately, some unfortunate circumstances that was out of our league came about, and we all know what happened. And as a result, now it's a different club. Some players on that team last year are still there. About 4 of the players who was on that team last year who are doing very well. Major big losses, including Luke Keishel, who probably is going to be a prime candidate for Pac-12 Player of the Year for Arizona State. He the other night had a 5-for-5 night. He leads the Pac-12 with 5 doubles. And then Owen Stevenson leading the conference. Him and Josh Malaris, who's at Oregon, lead the conference in saves. And another former Don, Eric Resselman, who got picked up by LSU, who was top number 1 in the nation, though he signed with the Yankees. They still got guys on that team like Dave Stapleton and Darius Foster, but there's no bones about it. It's not the same team like it was last year, including you lose 2 great assistant coaches, Alan Smoot and Matt Kepplinger, who's now with San Jose State. Major losses.
Yeah, seems like it's going to be a tough weekend for you. Are you going to make all 3?
Well, that's what I'm going to do. And, of course, we still got Miss Deb Peralta and their autism awareness game this weekend on Sunday. I will definitely be there. I want to support her regardless. But the thing is, hey, we can't reminisce. We're there for business, strictly business, because we're in a great position to really put some distance and position ourselves, because you look at after this series, only 2 conference series left, and still an outside chance to if you win out, could possibly get the number 2 seed to get that first round bye to avoid the 1-game knockout round. There's lots at stake this weekend and the next 2 weeks after that.
Yeah, it makes it a lot of fun going down the stretch. There's a lot of race for everybody, so it'll be a good weekend.
Well, it's a good weekend because it also is the Kentucky Derby Day. I think either this weekend's Kentucky Derby race, or I think it's the following Saturday. I think it's 1 week from next Saturday will be the Kentucky Derby. So we're in that race, like they say, like church, like they say, and down the stretch they come.
Yeah, my favorite derby is the Soapbox Derby. You ever seen that?
No. I heard of the Seabiscuit Derby my parents saw like 20 years ago.
Yeah, Seabiscuit. I wonder if Seabiscuit's running in the Derby.
I don't know if that horse is still alive, Greg. But seriously, what was some of your great memories with Coach Giarratano, the legacy, what he did on the Hilltop?
One of my favorite things to think about, remember, is Coach G hitting ground balls to Nico after games and just seeing the joy those 2 guys had together. Whether it was a win or a loss, it was a neat thing to see as we were cleaning up, picking up cups and just thinking about the game. I know he was doing the same, but it was something that taught us a lot. I think all of us.
And I was scooping balls at first base, grabbing some ground balls at first, and
you sure
the Meyer kids, Mac and Steele, same thing. And then one of my favorite memories was the old snack shack.
Oh, yeah,
the original snack shack, where yours truly kind of got raided, trying to get B.A. Brian Anderson, give me one of them long hot dogs. Those were my favorite, the long all beef hot dogs. USF Diamond Dog tradition.
Yeah, I have a feeling B.A. gave you more than one.
Oh, absolutely, and I'm coming clean. I love them all beef hot dogs, though.
Yeah, who doesn't?
And but we did everything in the early years. We had to do everything kind of like manually, like, kind of like I mean manually, and running a baseball operation. We had to do everything hands-on manually before we got those better resources, before they had a full concession stand, like like in times going by. We had to run everything manually, kind of multitasking, doing baseball stuff on the field, and some of the guys who was on the active roster on that particular day weren't to suit up like a BA or even Rigo on those early years, had to do the snack shack, duty.
Yeah, those are fun days and good memories. Even Camise Zaninieri.
Camise, yeah.
He started in the snack shack, then after a few injuries, he was playing third base and hitting 320.
Yeah, and it's funny, working from the ground up, and those are the life stories we remember, despite what happened last year, unfortunately. But the good things that I remember was the snack shack. Danny Morales, really, Demo, you recruited him, a local kid in the city, played both at McAteer and at Lincoln, ended up coming to USF, and then, rarely you see players go from playing in the league I played in high school, the AAA league in the city, to a Division I school like USF.
Yeah.
And then we bring in, Danny's mom used to bring in all the gum, all those bubble gums, and then Deb came in, Deb Peralta. We can't wait to see her.
Yeah, it'll be good to see Deb. Hope to see the boys too.
Yeah, and we should give them some baseballs though too. Make sure you give them some baseballs by Miss Cassidy, the Flying Squirrel. Get those kids some baseballs.
Okay, we'll do it.
And then also, I think the proudest, best moment I can remember is the first ever WCC championship we won in 06, some 17 years ago.
Yeah.
When we had that, when Jeff Menard catered that chicken truck and out there in the center field barbecue terrace out there.
Yeah, Jeff Menard can throw a good party.
He had some great memories. I tell everybody on the streets about those stories of the chicken truck, the barbecues him and Johnny operated on game days. The first ever West Coast Conference or ever trip to the regional was my favorite moment. We were down there on Union Street, and then see Joe Nelson, part of the Rich Hill regime, made a cameo appearance when he was in town pitching when the Royals came in to play the A's at the Coliseum in Oakland, made an appearance.
That's right. Joe Nelson. I wonder where he's at now. He's a good guy.
Yeah, and then Jermaine Clark, all those guys came back over the years, and then the Dub knocking out national seed Nebraska and Lincoln for that first ever WCC or their first ever regional win after losing to a perennial power Miami, which featured Yonder Alonso and former Milwaukee Brewers second baseman Ricky Weeks' little brother, former Oakland A's Jamal Weeks, and then eliminate Nebraska, which I think Jabba Chamberlain pitched for them though too, for Nebraska Cornhuskers in that regional, then lose to Manhattan, and I still got that shirt in my house though, and the West Coast Conference shirt we won, and then 2011, winning it on the final day, y'all making the snag, and I still got that jacket with Steve's dad gave me. That's going to be a souvenir for life. Winning the conference winning it on a day that made the snag. I call it the snag, and then we end up beating Garrett Cole, who's with the Yankees.
That's right.
Bradley Zimmer filling in for Matt Lujan, and people remember, if Lujan didn't get hurt, I think we get out of that LA regional. We come out of the winner's circle for that regional. I really believe it, Greg.
Yeah, we had a chance there. Those are some good teams, but we had a really good staff going in there for sure. And I thought
pitching their best ball too.
Oh yeah, Matt Lujan and Kyle. It's tough to match that.
Yeah, and then finally the regional 10 years ago was the last regional, 10 years ago, which this year was supposed to have been the 10-year anniversary. And winning on another walk-off thriller by Derek Atkinson. And we all remember when Coach got thrown out in that winner's circle game, we were trailing because you knew he wanted to beat Coach Hill. And when we won that game, when Coach G came out in the movie like the Raging Bull, the running of the bulls, after when Axe hit that one out to get us into the championship final, because the loser of that game would have to play later that evening to stay off elimination. That put us into the championship round. That pretty much guaranteed us a spot into the NCAA regionals. And at the worst, of course, you want to win the conference tournament to get the automatic bid, but that pretty much put us in at least at worst and at large bid because of our RPI.
Yeah, that thing put us over the top. That ball was up and in, I believe, and he tomahawked it.
Oh, he tomahawked it. Once it went out, and then you saw me at that last clip when it was like Axe had that Bobby Thompson shot heard around the world.
Yep.
And I was right in that melee celebration, capturing the moment.
You still have the video?
I still got it on YouTube, and it was a all-time classic. It was like, but and then we ended up losing the championship game, but got into a regional and at large bid, lost to ended up losing to Rice, who was once upon a time at power with Wayne Graham was their head coach. They have really fallen on hard times in recent years. Now Jose Cruz Jr., the former Giant, is coaching Rice, and and then after that was it for you. You end up going down to Northridge, and you popped 2 chicken hawks, came into the world, and now you're here.
Yep. Sitting with B, reminiscing.
Yeah, and this is now in the present, this is a important series for bragging right, Bay Area bragging rights stuff, the Battle of the Bay.
It'll be a good weekend. I'm glad you're going to make it over.
Yeah, and like I said again, what happens in the past, it's over with. That chapter is over. They're out of my. I told the players as we're doing this tape after practice concluded, hey, they're no longer part of my jurisdiction. You guys are part of my jurisdiction. They got a lot to deal with. This thing with Coach is going to get straightened out in a positive way in court, and we just got to go out there, take care of business, and pour ourselves in a good position.
That's right.
All right, Greg, go get him. We'll talk to you over the weekend.
Thank you, B. Good to see you.
An update around the West Coast Conference baseball standings as we're getting down to only 3 weeks left of West Coast Conference baseball action. It's presented by University of Credit Union. Visit them on the website at ucu.org. That's ucu.org. A quick look of the West Coast Conference baseball standings and the scoreboard on Thursday night as the BYU Cougars with a big walk-off win over the Portland Pilots at Miller Park in Provo, Utah. 9-8 was the final score. So that means with the win, the BYU Cougars now go to 8-8 in West Coast Conference play, 18-21 overall. The Cougars now sit in that all alone for the 6th and final spot in that West Coast Conference spot, with them up with Santa Clara ahead of them by only a half game. Those 2 teams, the Pilots and the Cougars, will play Game 2 Friday night in Provo. Portland sits at 11-8. They fall to 11-8, 22-18 overall. They, right now, with that loss, dropped to 3.5 games behind the LMU Lions, who right now sits in with a 14-4 record, and they're 21-18 overall. LMU will end up taking on the San Diego Toreros for the big 3-game series at Page Stadium in Los Angeles for the weekend series. That will be with the Toreros are now sole possession of second place ahead of Portland by a half game for second place. And then you had also the Gaels will take on the Dons. St. Mary's is now 1 game behind, or a half game behind Portland, 1 game behind San Diego. Them and Gonzaga for second place. Remember, the top 2 of the 6 teams, the top 2 teams of the conference will get an automatic first round bye for the West Coast Conference tournament. And also, it's Gonzaga will host Pacific up at Patterson Sports Complex in Spokane. They're 10-8. They're plus 2.5 games up in front for the playoff positioning, 14-24 overall. BYU, of course, are a half game up on Santa Clara. They're in Pepperdine, who will be hosting Santa Clara. Those 2 teams will hook up at Eddie G. Field in Malibu for the weekend series down there. Right now, it's Santa Clara half game up on Pepperdine, and this is for the winner of this series, the loser of this series could be pretty much toast if they were to lose this series. And then for the Dons, who are 3.5 out against their rival, the Gaels, a series loss, or even if they get a series sweep by the Gaels over San Francisco, pretty much buries the Dons for good for any chances making the postseason. And then Pacific, they will take on the Gonzaga Bulldogs. They will be on the road, and they're 3.5 out. This is a must-series win for the Tigers if they want to stay alive, breathing, to stay in that chase for that 6th and final spot in the West Coast Conference. And a reminder, the St. Mary's Gaels take on the University of San Francisco Dons on the hilltop at Benedict Diamond. The first pitch for Friday and Saturday, 1 o'clock, Sunday at 12 noon. Our pregame show with Greg Moore will condense around approximately 12:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, both Friday and Saturday. Sunday at 11:45 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can catch the action at smcgaels.com via the WCC Sports Network, WCCSports.com, as Pat Olson with the play-by-play and action live from Benedict Diamond on the campus of the University of San Francisco. And as always, this segment and St. Mary's Gaels Baseball Weekend Review and Preview presented by University Credit Union. Visit the website at ucu.org. That's ucu.org. I'm Brian Professor B. Davis. Thank you for listening to this St. Mary's Gaels Baseball Weekend Review and Preview and an update on the West Coast Conference Baseball Standings update on Smc-Tv Plus Audiocast. Smc-Tv Plus Audiocast is an association with the Satellite Digital Media News Network.